All right, guys, what is up? I am Paul, half of Dads and Dice, and thank you guys for being here. Sorry that I'm a little bit late. Um, as Yomi said there in the chat, um, that is part of being a parent. Is we're going to be late to things. So, unfortunately, my daughter was a little bit harder to put down tonight. It's super strange. Last night she was asleep 7:50, no problem. About an hour ago, right? We're Central Standard Time here. Uh, Normally by 8:15 I'm out of her room, so 8:30 generally that is a good time for me to go live. Today, not so much. So that just happens. I do have monitor over here, so I'm gonna be kind of looking this way just to kind of keep an eye on things. Hopefully everything sounds okay. Um, I did. I forgot my laptop today at work. Um, I wasn't actually going to be able to go live. And then I remembered my wife's laptop is here. So I kind of have this little setup here. Hopefully everything sounds okay. So if you're here, everything sounds good, put a little comment down below. Let's see, Patrick, you have a couple games that you own, the original Rolling Realms, Shipyard, and Praga. Awesome. Well, we're going to be talking about all of them, and maybe you can tell me a little bit more about Shipyards and Praga, because I'm very interested in those. Nice to see you, Dennis. I'm glad that it sounds good. Appreciate that. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into our monthly what's new in the collection. And I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying that we got a ton of review copies this month. It was not expected, these review copies. Well, I say that. We did expect some review copies. We did not expect all of these review copies. Some of the publishers were very, very generous in what they gave us, and we're definitely thankful for that. But we also did get 17 new games into the collection this month. So, first world problems. Don't want to complain about that. But we do have our work cut out for us with a ton of games. So, as we go through them, I'll kind of tell you who they're from. Most of these, again, are from a publisher. So, we'll just go ahead and say that. But let's go ahead and get some. Let's see, I have some wild reverb. Hopefully that is, let me see. I'm not sure. Hopefully that's just yours, unfortunately. How are we able to get review copies? So Patrick, yeah. One thing, in all honesty, I a lot of the times just reach out to a publisher and just say, hey, my name is Paul. Devin and I, we run a YouTube channel. This is our stats that we have. This is how many followers, subscribers on all of our social media. I don't know if you've ever been to our website, but we do have a website that has a lot of our stuff on there. And so basically I just say like, hey, here's all of our stuff. We generally try to play midweight to heavyweight games. We do a lot of solo stuff. These might be a few games that we're interested in. And a lot of the times publishers are nice enough, generous enough that they'll just send you out a copy. You know, Devin and I have talked about it quite a bit. It makes sense for a publisher to send out review copies because generally, a game, let's say for them, it's going to cost them 20-30 bucks to publish one game. If we can bring eyes to that game, or if we can sell one game for them, they're making a profit on that review copy. So a lot of the times it's just as simple as asking. We have had people reach out to us, not that we're like a big channel or anything like that, but that's another way that kind of does it. Stonemeyer, which actually we can get into some of these games. Well, thank you, Patrick. I took some time making that website. It's my first kind of foray into that. I don't even know if that's the right word, but this is my first kind of design. But we'll talk about like Stonemeyer games. And actually, the first game that we have here, this is Rolling Realms Redux. What they do, what's really cool for their review copies that they do, is they send out, I want to say it's quarterly. Um, and so they just say, like, hey, these are the games that we're offering for review. I believe they send out to, I want to say it's thousands of content creators. And it's basically just like, hey, if you want one of these games, here is a code. You can have it. Just make sure that you make some type of content with it. So, anyway, this is Rolling Realms Redux. It is exactly like Rolling Realms. So, Rolling Realms is a roll and write, and it was actually created during the pandemic. Um, and basically, what it was, there's definitely a weird flange thing going on with the audio. I don't know what to tell you. It might just be my microphone, honestly. Maybe I can adjust a couple settings here. Let me see. That might turn it down a little bit, but it might change things. I know if I'm not directly in front of it, it does change a little bit. Um, yeah, this Rolling Realms update. So basically, this is just a roll and write game. The original one that came out during the pandemic was just all of Stonemaier games. It was just a bunch of their games. And so basically, what they do is they create these realms, and a realm is just a card. And I know you probably can't see this. Like I said, my setup's all messed up today. But there's these cards for all these games, and basically it takes the main mechanic of that game and transforms it into a small little game here. So you have three different ones, and you just kind of fill stuff out. So like with what's a good example here? For Wingspan is a good one. On Wingspan, you're going to be putting in numbers and you're going to be trying to add up to that middle number in there. So this first one is 7. That's the Wingspan. And you're trying to put in numbers to equal a 7. Every number that you put gains your resources. So that's basically how the game plays. They have a Dice Throne realm. I did not know that. That might be a fan made one. I'm not sure if it's an official one. Might be. But so this new box adds 12 new realms. And there are no Stonemaier realms. It's just a bunch of other designers. So some of those are, let me remove these promos here. They have a Meadow realm, which for me, Meadow is an awesome game. I absolutely love Meadow. That one's really good. Legacy of You is a really fun one. Tidal Blades, haven't played it, but I've heard good things. Spaceship, which I believe is a button shy game. And then they have things like rock, paper, scissors. They have poker. They have, what are the other ones here? Guild of Merchant Explorers. There's Poker, Flamecraft, Wonderland's War, Atiwa, Dog Park. So it's all of these other games that they're bringing into this universe. Now, my favorite part about this is, hopefully you can kind of see this a little bit, it is a bigger box. So this bigger box, they provided dividers for every single color, player color, and they also given you this travel box. This game is one that I like taking on me with vacation because it is so easy to take. You just take a couple realms, you take your dice, and the purple dice are new. You take a marker, and that is it. Now they're giving you an actual travel box for you to take on travel. That reminds me that I have a button shy package in the mailbox. There you go, Jeff. So really all they're doing on this one is just adding more of the same. Added 12 new realms to it, bigger box, and a travel box. So really enjoyed it. From the ones that I've played, Meadow is probably my favorite one so far from this box. All right, so that was a Rolling Realms Redux. All right, next up, let's look at some games from AEG. And all of these were review copies. So let me get those. Oh, there we go. We got a lot. I came home one day and this package was outside, and I was like, huh, I don't know what that is. I wasn't expecting any big package. It's all these games. So we'll start off here. Yeah, the pile is big. Again, I don't want to complain too much because first world problems, and this is what I absolutely love doing, but it is a lot of stuff to play. But this is Cascadia, Rolling Rivers, and Rolling Hills. These are the newest. It's a lot of great games. Yes, Christmas did come early, and it is a lot of great games. I've played a decent amount of these. So these are the roll and write versions of Cascadia, and essentially they are the same game. Um, Rolling Rivers takes place in a river. Rolling Hills takes place in a plain. Um, so what comes in here is you have your maps, and there's 4 different maps, and they kind of range on complexity. So you have map A, B, C, and D, and in both boxes, A, B, and C are very similar. They are almost identical. They just have different dice and different resources that you can elect. So rolling right would make it easier to jump. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. So you have map A, B, C, and D. A, B, and C are basically the same in both boxes. D is a little bit different, with it being the heaviest of them all. So basically on your turn, what you do is you have your personal dice. And so on these dice, you have the Cascadia resources, we'll call them as the animals. You have your bear, your fox, your elk, your trout, hawks, all those kind of things. And then you have some community dice. And on these community dice, it's all of those animals as well, plus a couple different things like a wild token, pine cones, all that kind of stuff. So what you do is you roll your 2 dice, you roll the community dice, and you decide which animal you want to choose. So generally you're going to choose the one that has the most available. And then on your little score pad, you're going to write down how many animals you got. So if there was 3 bears out there, you would write down 3 bears. If there was 5 fox, you'd write down 5 fox, so on and so forth. And then you have these cards. And these cards are things like this, and they basically tell you these are the resources you need to spend in order to mark off this terrain type on your map. Then there's victory points and end game scoring, things like that. The dice mitigation in this one is pretty cool. It's what the pine cones are used for. So you have your pine cones, and if you spend a certain amount, you can, I forget what they call it, but you can basically spend a couple pine cones to make your bears, which is the topmost, make them into elk, which is your second topmost. Or you can spend 2 of them or 3 of them to make your elk into bears, and so that way you can kind of mitigate the resources that you have. It's fun. It's a good game. Going back to kind of what Pat was saying here, I definitely prefer OG Cascadia to this roll and write version of it. I think Cascadia is just a great game in general. And I don't think Cascadia is really a heavy game. It's not one that is super confusing. I don't feel like you need a jumping point to get into Cascadia. This version of the game is more if you just absolutely love Cascadia, and you love roll and writes, really. But I don't think you really need this one to get into Cascadia. I also don't think that you need both of these, because they're basically the same game. You can combine them to have higher player counts, to have different resource types. But honestly, if you're going to get one of these, get whichever art you prefer. That's kind of how I feel about these. Okay, we have Let's Go to Japan. Devin and I live streamed this one a couple weeks ago, and it's fun. I like it. This is a tableau builder. You are planning your trip to Japan. Um, really, there's not much. Uh, there's some player interaction with the draft, but like Devin and I had talked about, really the draft can kind of be ignored, because basically your discard cards go to your opponent, um, and they could either use it or not. So um, there is a little bit of player interaction there, but not a ton. Uh, I really enjoy this one because of the end game scoring. Basically, you have to put things in a specific order for them to score. You're looking for different sets of symbols, um, and that will help you just kind of get your scores better. The solo is fine. It is not the best game. I would not recommend this for solo. But overall, I think this is a really good one. As of now, from the ones that I've played, this has definitely been my favorite one from the AEG games that we've gotten. And I think this fits its target audience, and its space in a game night exactly where it needs to be. It is a under an hour game. Um, it's pretty much simultaneous, so I don't think playing it at 4 players versus 2 players is going to add a ton of time. Um, let's see what else. I think the artwork is great on it. Um, but yeah, overall, it's just a not basic. It's a good midweight game that will play in under an hour. That I actually have enjoyed quite a bit. So that's Let's Go to Japan. All right. Next up with AEG. This is Undergrove. Um, so on my BGA stream about a month ago, I had mentioned that I lucked my way into winning a game of Undergrove. Um, and really, the reason why I was playing that on BGA was because we had just gotten this in not too long before that, and I was really kind of trying to learn it. And so I saw they had it on BGA, so I wanted to try it there. In Undergrove, you are taking on the role of an evergreen tree. So you are playing as this tree. Um, and basically, what you're trying to do is spread your roots out. And these roots are going to be collecting carbon. Once you have enough carbon on your roots, you will then plant a tree. Jeff, I'm agreeing with you. Finding that games that don't have a decent solo mode, those ones have a hard time staying in my collection. So this one here, you're that tree, and basically this is just different types of end game scoring is what you're going for. So for example, there's always going to be like 3 goal cards, and it can be like at the end of the game, roots on mushrooms with a color, something in their name. So if it's like this yellow veiled amanita or something like that. At the end of the game, the total amount of trees that you have planted, placing 2 roots on a single mushroom type in 1 turn, that can get you victory points. So it's just different end game conditions. You're kind of building a forest together with all these roots that go out there. So if I put a root on one, I could use somebody else's to transfer carbon from theirs to mine. And that's really kind of the game. It's this network that you're kind of building of roots, trying to gather resources to spend them for actions. What I really was most impressed by, and what I actually really liked about this game the most, again, we'll go into the solo, going back to Jeff. I would not recommend this one for the solo either, because you pretty much have to run 2 bots. And they're easy, but it's not it's not a it's more than what I want to do for a solo opponent for this weight of a game. But what I really enjoyed the most about this, that was really cool, was the organization for it. So it came in this like in paper bags, maybe. Yeah, it came in like a paper bag, like what you would get at a bank, like a money kind of envelope. Envelopes are the words. And then all these little boxes that you had to build. So once you had them built, this is the player. So this is the brown player, and inside there it's got all of his trees, all of his tokens, everything that goes with that player. You have the bonus tiles here, and those go on the carbon track. And then you have your resource tokens here. So that was pretty cool. Another thing, nerdy science me thought was really cool. The resources are different elements, and it's the elements that plants need. So you have your phosphorus, your potassium, your nitrogen, and your carbon, and it's the actual element symbol. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, obviously, like I said, it comes with your solo cards, and it's a fine solo. Again, I would not recommend this game for the solo. But from what I've read, it does play better at higher player counts. So I'm excited to kind of get that played whenever I get the chance. Star Trek Discovery, Black Alert, lots of mycelial network issues. There is another mushroom game called Mycelia, I think is what it's called. Super funny, like when these started coming out, or when this one went to Kickstarter, I think right around that same time that Mycelia one went to Kickstarter. So there's like all these mushroom games that were coming out, which I found very interesting. Just kind of this weird theme of games. So, all right, last one here on the AEG goodie box, and I'll go ahead and take the shrink off of this one because I've been meaning to. This is Nocturne, and actually, I am very excited to try this one. This one looks pretty good. Going back to Undergrove here for a second, and I think these ones too. Double check to make sure. Yeah, all three of these, four of these with Rolling Rivers, these were all illustrated by Beth Sobel. So the original artist of Cascadia, she provided the art for all of these games, and I do tend to like her art quite a bit. So if you like her art, maybe these are something that interests you. I know Devin would say, "Who cares about art?" But I knew. I do. I like it. Beth is busy. So this is Nocturne. We can open it up together. This is a bidding game, and it's got an interesting bidding mechanic, which I think is actually pretty cool. So you have all of these tiles, and your tiles are laid out depending on player count. I want to say for a 2-player count, it's like a 3x3 or maybe a 4x4. Who cares about art? I know, right? That's Devin to a T. We care about art. I care about art. Like, look at this. This is sweet. Look at this Sage Mist Paw. I hope Devin's watching this right now. Well, Jeff, you don't like those beiges, do you? You don't like the beige Euros, I'm assuming. But look at this. This is super sweet. You got the Sage Mistpaw. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. Okay, so this is a bidding game where you have this shared board of tiles, and you're bidding on the tiles that you want. So these tiles are basically some form of set collection. Life's too short for beige. I will give it to some of the beige games. You might not like, well, let me just go back a little bit. You might not like 5 of the next ones that I'm going to show you because they're all beige. But there's some games that are just like the mechanics are just so spot on that it's like, I don't care what I'm looking at. These are just so good. So anyway, Nocturne, you are bidding on these different tiles that are different types of set collection. So for example, like these mushrooms here, the ones that have 3, if you have 1 tile, it's worth 3 points. If you have 2 tiles, it's worth 0 points. If you have 3 of them, they're worth 13 points. So obviously you don't want to get stuck with 2 of them. These skull and crossbone things are just worth victory points. These ones are basically multipliers. So if you have 1, you get 2 points. If you have 2, you have 4 points. 3 is 8, so on and so forth. So each player has these tokens, and these are what you're bidding on. So these all have different numbers. 6, I'm not sure what that star is. 8, 5, 7, right? So all these bidding tokens. So what you'll do on your turn is you will put out a bid. So I'm going to put a 6 on this tile here. That signifies that I might want that tile. So then the other player, they're going to put out a higher one orthogonally adjacent. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to go there. I'm going to bid an 8 on this one. And then it's up to you if you want to bid higher or not. The person that has the highest bid out there, they will get the tile. The other person gets something. I don't remember what exactly, but they do get a little benefit for putting something out there as well. And then there's also some goal cards that come out throughout the game that you can play with. So this one just seems really interesting. It's a different type of mechanic that I haven't seen with bidding. I generally don't like bidding games too much, but this one seems like it does it in a decent way. Decent enough that I'm more than happy to give it a shot. So that is Nocturne. And that is all of our AEG Flatout games. So yeah, those all look pretty good. Okay, let's go this way. So up next we have Kutná Hora. I started taking this one out of the shrink, and I didn't finish, but I meant to. This is another review copy. This was by Czech Games Edition, CGE. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us. You are joining us in the middle of a ton of games. So this is Kutná Hora, the City of Silver. And this is a city building game from the based in the Czech Republic. And basically what you're trying to do is you are mining for silver. You're trying to... It's like an economy game. So you're building out the city, and there's this economy that really thrives on like supply and demand in real life, right? So if there's a lot of one thing, the resource is worse, the money value is less of this resource if it's not as demand, if it's not in as demand. Wow, that sounded terrible. If the demand is not high, it costs less, just like real life. And it constantly fluctuates. I saw this game for the first time. Listen to that little box fart there. I saw this game at BGG Con last November, I believe, is when it came out. And honestly, the box just like, to me, it was striking. I thought it was like, wow, that looks super interesting. And then going back to what we were just saying, Devin just looked at it and was like, that looks dumb. That's just a coin. There's nothing about it that interests me just by that. But to me, it just looked really good. There's a lot going on in here, and it looks like a lot of this was sort of already punched out. Maybe it got punched out during delivery. But yeah, I don't know how this happened. I haven't had a game come out like this before. But yeah, basically it's just an economic game where you are going to be building out a city. The price for the supplies is going to change based on what people want and when they want it and how much you have. There is these little cool sliders that control the price of stuff. I'll show it to you back here, possibly. Wow, this is there's a lot of stuff in here. And again, I've never really had a game that has like been punched out before the shrink has even come out. Okay, so here you have these like resource trackers, and so those move throughout the game. So they're sliders, so you can slide it. If it becomes more expensive, you slide it one side. If it's cheaper, you slide it to the other way. The game does have a bunch of there's asymmetric player powers, so your things might be cheaper than the other ones, um, or you just might have different abilities than everybody else. So here it looks like there's same. Let's see. No, that's not it. This is just the actions that you can do. So, anyway, like I said, I have not looked super deep into this one. There's been a couple times where I've been wanting to get the rule book to it, and then a new game comes in and I read that rule book instead. This one does not have a solo mode, so it hasn't been one that I've been rushing to get read just because I can't play it until Devin and I can get together to play it. But yeah, that is this one. Look at that. Even the card deck is open too. Huh. It even has an app for keeping track of the markets. That's pretty cool. Self-punching. I see what you read now. I thought that said still punching must be deluxe. It is self-punching. Let me just go ahead and put these cards in here. You know what? We can look at some of these. Interesting. I can't even tell you. Oh, okay. These must be for the sliders. I'm assuming. These have got to be for the sliders because those are just random numbers. This says English version. Glad it's the English version. It's not a hard game. I learned it in 5 to 10 minutes. Well, that's super good. I like that. Okay. Here was some cards. We have a Joker in mine. Plot in mine. Interesting artwork. It's pretty colorful. And it's got kind of like this silver leaf, holographic silver on it. The back of these is pretty cool. These have got to be solo. No, this is 2-player, 2-player, 3, 4. This is... Huh. I haven't seen a lot of cards that look like this. Multi-use card system. Awesome. I like me some multi-use cards. Here we have Land Rush. The original town was built around a central square, but by 1360, new buildings were encroaching on the space, changing the shape of the town. Players pay no taxes, not even plot taxes these round. So it sounds like there's these are events that happen whenever the rounds occur. At the end of the round, remove the top tile from each of the 3 initial public building stacks. Before taxes, flip the current St. Barbara tile, increase taxes. Yeah, so those are just like some type of events. Interesting. I'm a little bit more excited to play this one now. Here we go. Here's the overview. Silver has been discovered in a hill in central Bohemia. Miners flock to the site, turning a sleepy Czech valley into a 14th century boom town. Players take charge of wealthy families, each with influence in various guilds. They use their wealth to expand the mines and build the city of Kutná Hora. The economy changes as the city grows, driven by the choices the players make. To win, you'll need to adapt to the price fluctuations and keep your eyes open for opportunity. So, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this has like a. It's very important to have the. I don't want to say it's a co-op game, but the shared board really kind of changes the dynamic of the place or of the game. So whatever you're doing really affects the other people's boards, and you might want to not upset people by making bad decisions for them. So every card has like 2 actions. You can only use one of them when you play it. Both are great, so it's a good decision space. Very cool. Well, I am excited for Kutná Hora. Not gonna lie though, this one I think might have gotten some damage being shipped here. That's probably why it's unpunched, but there is some box damage on that. That's okay. Not gonna complain. The game looks completely playable in there. Looks like something fell out here. That is definitely a tile. I would never be able to find what game that's for later. Okay. All right. Let's go over here to Creature Caravan. This is a Red Raven game. Again, another review copy. Red Raven games to me are some of the greatest games out there. Um, Publisher wise, at least for me, I'm not sure about Devin, but for me, my favorite publishers are definitely Garfield Games #1 and then Red Raven Games #2. There's only been one Red Raven game that I didn't super enjoy, and that was Rome. And it's really it's a pretty light game. It's nothing crazy. But then the other games of theirs, Sleeping Gods, Above and Below, those are both definitely in my top 10 games. So this is one that I have been anticipating for quite some time, and finally got it in the mail, and very, very happy with it. I think it is a great game. It is pretty light compared to their other games. But basically, this is just a tableau builder. If you didn't watch it, I did live stream a solo play of it. I mentioned on the solo play that I think I did something wrong, and I 100% did something wrong. I went back and checked immediately and noticed that about 40 minutes into the game, I just stopped making. Oh, there's another Kutná Hora coin. I just stopped placing my dice on the trading action. I started treating trading actions as free actions when they're absolutely not. There's definitely a space on the board for it. So for about 6 turns, I was getting an extra action plus a lot of extra victory points. Now, that would have definitely changed the outcome of the game, but it should still give you a good idea of how the game plays. So completely my mistake. Might redo that one at some point just because I would like to have a good playthrough of it. But this game, what you're going to do is you have this map, and there's 4 of these. And these are the terrain that you're going to be traversing throughout the game. So they're double-sided. You can set them up however you'd like. And they have different terrain spots. So they have these like green, yellowish spots. Those are just plains. You have your mountains, which are the purple ones. You have your canyons, which are the red. And then you have the lakes. On some of these spots, you also have resources that you can gather if you decide to end your turn there and camp. So like these white towers gives you extra cards. You have these fruit tokens right here on this lake that give you dice modifiers. And then you have little treasure chests, which are treasures that can give you victory points, items, bread, just other resources. Then you have this tile that goes to the end, and this is East Ray. You do not have to make it to East Ray by the end of the game, but you do get victory points for how far along the terrain you've made it. There's only 12 rounds in the game, and you can only have 12 creatures in your caravan, unless you have unless you have some abilities that let you have more. But for the most part, you can only have 12. So on your turn, what you'll do is you'll gather some type of resource. Dice worker placement. So on your player boards, you can place a 3 to move across plains. You can place a 5 to get some bread, some 4 to get some items. You can place pairs of numbers to move across any terrain type. And so what you'll want to do is build out this caravan of these different creatures that give you extra actions to place your dice. So like, for example, this one here is the machine. This is the lowland airship. It is a machine and it is flying. If you have this built at the end of the game, it's worth 1 victory point plus 2 victory points if you have the aged engineer. This gives you a 6 spot for your dice that allows you to move on any terrain twice. And then if you have 2 flying, it allows you to move an extra terrain as well. This one here, this is a folk delver. Once per turn, you can move vertically for free. And then if you place a 4, you get 2 items on there. So these creatures are just building out more spaces for you to place your dice. And you really want to synergize them, um, because all of these creatures have some type of characteristic. Like you have the Grasskin Beekeeper, who is tiny, magic, and shy. And so one of these cards might say 8 victory points if you have 4 or more magic creatures. So you'd want to play both of these and then play 3 more magic ones to score this one, right? So it's just another kind of set collection. Improve your tableau, improve your actions, make your way down towards East Ray, and just kind of try to find those combos that are so satisfying. I've gotten to play this one 2 times now. I think the solo is good on this one. I do enjoy the solo. It has its own little player board back here, and it tells you exactly what to do. So when you roll the dice for the bot, you place any 4, 5, and 6 pairs on the top. You place a 6, 5, 4, 3, and then a 1 or a 2. I'm sorry, I was looking at the expansion board. Pair 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s, and then it tells you exactly what to do whenever you have those dice in there. This is the deluxe version of the game. It does come with a different solo bot, and it does come with an expansion in here as well that just adds different types of cards. Not necessary whatsoever, but it is nice to just add a little bit of variety into the gameplay. And then if you really do enjoy the Land of Arzium that Red Raven Games is known for, they did include this map of the southern lands of Arzium. And this basically is just showing you where all these games have taken place, where the above and below game is, near and far, now or never, Islebound, City of Iron, all of those things, and where they're taking place on this map. So Ryan Lockett, he is the designer, the publisher, and the artist for all of these games. And I absolutely love his style of everything. Yeah, it's a really cool map. It's a nice little addition to what we have here. Okay, almost done, I think. We have our last set of review copies here. And these are all from Rio Grande Games. So I reached out to Jay, I don't know, it was a week or 2 ago, and I was like, "Hey, we just recently got Evacuation live streamed on our channel. We just recently got Underwater Cities into our collection, and we've really been enjoying these games. Vladimir Suchi is somebody that we've learned to appreciate quite a bit. If you have a review copy of something, we would love to get that, shown on our table." And he definitely took that to heart because he sent us tons of games. Michael, that is Red Raven Games. Red Raven. So they're the same ones that do Distant Skies, Above and Below, Now or Never, Near and Far, all of those games. So these are all the Red Raven games. I'll try to have them kind of in an order here. So we'll start here with this one. Move it over here so you guys can see my face. This is Shipyard 2nd Edition. So again, like I said, I had mentioned, hey, we like Vladimir Suchi, and Jay, the owner of Rio Grande Games, really took that to heart because he sent us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Suchi games. So we're going to definitely try to get these played as fast as we can, try to get some content for it, but it's probably going to take some time. Patrick, I don't know if you're still here, but you had mentioned that you have Shipyard. From the little bit of reading that I got through it, this is some type of action selection board in the middle to where you take this action, you play it, and then you put it back at the kind of the end of the cycle, so that you can do it at another time. You're collecting resources to build out ships. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but you are testing the ships as well. Um, you're buying equipment, hiring crew, building the ships. And these will power commerce, immigration, naval supremacy. Will you make a lot of small ships to score frequently, or you do one grand big one at the end to score a bunch of points? The action selection mechanism, build the fleets that built the world. So that is this one. Testing the ships is part of the game. Yeah. So that is Shipyard. This game originally released in 2003, I think. And they recently just released the second edition of this one last year. I've heard very good things about it. One of the channels that I follow the most is the Brothers Murph, and they've talked quite a bit about Shipyard. The first edition, they said that they really enjoy it. They think that it's a good Vladimir Suchy game. The one thing that I'm pretty intrigued about it is on the on BGG, it says 30 minutes per player, and I like a game that's 30 minutes per player, mainly because Devin will double that. And I know that we can get it played in about 90 minutes. 90 minutes is really my sweet spot for game. 90 minutes to 2 hours. That's what I like a lot. Pretty sweet. It comes with a organizer, and it has instructions on how to build it. That's really nice. The reviews of Shipyard is indeed good on BGA. Ooh, I did not know that it was on BGA. Patrick, we might have to start a game on that one. Suchi is a great designer. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Suki, one of those. Looks like it has a solo mode. Looks pretty good. I like that it has a insert in the game. I love games that have that. Oh, not Board Game Arena. Okay. Another Suchi game, Messina 1347. Oh, that's too bad, Patrick. Messina 1347, another Suchi game with Raul Fernandez Aparicio. Nice. That's good to hear, Michael. I like that. So I did a little bit of reading about this game. This is about the Black Plague. So this game is started in 1347. That's when the Black Plague was not introduced, but that's when it started coming around. And I guess the first city that it hit really hard was Messina, Italy. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to clear the city. So you have 4 years. So you're trying to clear the city. You're trying to clean up the city, rescue people, relocate them to different estates. And then you're trying to control the plague with fire. And then in the final rounds, you are trying to get those people back into the city to repopulate Messina. I think that is a super cool theme. Not that it's a cool thing that happened, but it sounds really interesting. And hopefully the theme kind of shines through in the game. Hopefully you feel like you are trying to clear the people out and help this city grow from the destruction that's happening around it. So it looks like you have tons of components here. There's some fire tokens that you're trying. It says on here you're trying to control the rats, control the plague with fire. This one says 60 minutes to 140. It looks like it has a solo as well. Player boards look pretty cool. It looks like it's a double layered. And then you have a shared city in the middle. Let's see what's in this one. It'd be cool if they... Oh, they do. They're little rat rat meeples. I want to say ratigans. That was the first word that popped in my head. But there's a little rat meeple. The plague, the plague. And it looks like just sticks. I wonder if that's like the sticks that you use for the fire. All the different colors. And then the player boards. Another little wheel with rats all along them. I think Suchi likes his little wheels, his little dials. He has that in Praga. I believe he has that in Woodcraft. We saw it over there in shipyards here in Messina. So yeah, just a bunch of different stuff, bunch of different symbols. And Jeff, you're lucky these aren't just super beige. It could be this side. This could be the game, but it's not. And then here, I'm not sure what these things are. Maybe it's just reference sheets or something like that. But yeah, interesting. This one seems like a cool theme, like something that could shine through. Some stickers for something else. That works. Messina 1347. Okay. Next up, we have Druids. Have not heard anything about this game. And I'll just go ahead and say it. When I was looking it up on Board Game Geek, it plays 2 to 8 players. I find that to be a very strange player count, just as it is, because I don't think this is a party game. And I bet it plays completely different from 2 to 8. Also, not tons of reviews on it. Really nothing on the Board Game Geek website. But this is Druids of the Elements. So you're a Grand Council of Druids. You've convened once again to determine who will earn the esteemed title of Archdruid of the Forest. So you and your loyal wolf have accepted the task. However, you must harness the forces of nature, generating magic items, activate the runes. Are you ready to embark on an epic journey? So I'm not sure what to expect from this one. There is the basic version. Okay. I see. So there's a basic version that plays 3 to 4 players. There's a Ravens variant that plays 2 players. There's an extended variant that plays 5. And then there's the team variant that plays 6 or 8. That makes sense why it's a 2 to 8 player game. And it says less than 15 minutes per player. So it looks like you have a bunch of cards: air, earth, wind, fire, air. Activation requirement for the cards. And then just kind of like a hex shaped map. You have cards, movement, gems, magic area, and then the rune. So you take 2 actions, and that's it. That's the game. Interesting. I really wonder how the team game works. Interesting. Well, we will look into this one a little bit more. You got some pretty sweet meeples here too. You got your person and then your fox, or not your fox, your wolf. Sweet little wolf. You got some gems, and then the cards. You got the little cards there. So we'll see how this one plays. Honestly, not expecting too much from it, but that's okay. Not every game could be a banger, and some games might even surprise us. So that's Druids of the Elements. Okay, this one. Jeff, shield your eyes. This is 1930, the golden age of airlines. This is probably the most plain, uh, not pastel, but just plain game I feel like I've ever seen. This looks like it came straight out of 1930. So this is the golden age of airlines. Looking into it a little bit, rose-colored glasses on, safe to open. Uh, this is, if you know anything about the 18XX games, those are train stock games. I believe this is basically the same thing except for airplanes. So, this is a game set in the early stages of aviation. Players take on the role of aviation investors, promoters, and presidents, trying to make money. So, you are mainly accumulating this wealth through owning stock tokens in the 10 aviation airlines. Um, you can get dividends from them, you can gain income. That will increase throughout it. And then at the end, the person with the most assets and cash and stocks at the end is the winner. I do want to show. So these are the boards, right? These are your player boards. And I guess you are one of these airlines. No, these are not the player boards. These are the airlines. So you have Yarny Airlines, you have Robertson Air Carrier, National Sky Transit, Delta Air Services, Colonial. I wonder if these are real. Standard Airline. And then it looks like here. Oh, no, those are the player boards. I'm sorry. Those are the player boards. Number 2 is additional destination boards. So here are the destination boards. This side is Hong Kong. Here is the stock market. And then this one is just more destinations. So you have all your little tokens, right? These are the flight paths. You have your little tokens there. Paper money. Sorry, I am not getting into train games. I will not be getting into train games unless it's Ticket to Ride. But here's the board. Look at just that's it. Income track on the side when a player exceeds 100. Phases, buy stocks, operation phase, end of turn. I don't know if both sides are the same. Have fun, Devin. Yeah, exactly. I think these are the same on both sides. I could not play this game. So I'm a little bit interested in it. Look at just these little tokens here. And then you have your cash money. I am going to go into this one with an open mind. So every year that we go to BGG, Devin, Joe, and I, we always end up in the room where the people are playing the 18XX train games. That's the only reason that I know what they are. And every time that we're playing games, these people look like they're having so much fun playing these games. They're just like getting super into it, like, oh, I need to buy this stock, I need to do this, and basically yelling at each other like, no, you can't sell it at this price, you can't do that. And they're just like super engulfed into this game, into every game that they play. And the games last a long time, which is fine. It's okay. If you are having fun with the game, then that's fine for them to last a long time. But just every time we see them, we're like, we definitely should try out an 18XX game at some point, just to say that we have and to see if we've enjoyed it. Now we have one that's not trains. We have one that's airplanes, which I think is better. I think I like the theme of airplanes better than trains. But yeah, we're definitely going to give this one a try. There's a couple of other reviewers that I follow who have played this game and basically wrote it off at the beginning, just like, no, that looks terrible, not going to play it. But after they played it, they're actually like, that actually was pretty decent. That was not a bad game. Looks terrible, but I enjoyed it. So I'm going to go into that one with an open mind. I'm excited for that one. Okay, we have Underwater Cities expansion. So this is new discoveries. This is Vladimir Suchi game. Um, this is the expansion to Underwater Cities, obviously. We just got that one in the collection last month. And this one, as Devin would say, this does what any good Euro expansion does, and that adds asymmetric player powers. That's the basics of it. Um, it does look like we have 3 layered extra player boards. There's another little board here for the museum. 52 new cards, just add some variety. And then, like I said, the asymmetric assistants that just add little changes there. Paper Money, the horror. I like the paper money. Uh, Funny, actually, we played Millennium Blades last month, and Millennium Blades has paper money, and it has you put like 10 stacks of ones together and like 10 stacks of 10, and it has you like actually not rubber band them but band them together. Um and I'll tell you, it feels so awesome to just be like, I'm buying that card, here's my stack of tens. It's only worth 10, but you have so many in there, uh that it just feels so good just to like throw cash around. So I don't know. I think paper money is pretty cool. Monopoly flashbacks, a little bit. Okay, Praga. I'm not 100% sure how to say the rest of this game. Praga Kaput Regni. Um, this is a game that has been on my radar for a long time. I actually read the rulebook to this one back in April, and I was going to teach everybody it at BGG Spring, but we ended up playing so many other games that this one actually just never got to the table. So I am pretty familiar with it. This one is available on BGA. I haven't gotten a chance to try it, but this is. I don't want to say it's his most popular, but this is probably one of the more well-known Suchi games, at least from what I have gathered. I might be completely wrong on that, but um, I've heard a lot of people talk good stuff about this one. So this game is, again, we'll say it's a city builder style game, um, where you are in Prague in the Czech Republic, or in, I don't know what it's called now. You're in Prague, um, and you have this action wheel. Look at that, another game with instructions on how to build stuff. Sweet. You have this action wheel right here that has specific tiles that go in there, and this action wheel is rotating, and there are 3 different sections, maybe it's 2 different sections, but if you choose the actions that are in the green section, I forget now, but I think you get to do both actions, or maybe you get the action stronger, maybe you get the bonus, something like that. Then there's like a normal action, and then there's an action in the red where it's just a worse version of that action. Again, I might be completely messing that up. It's been a very long time since I read the rulebook, but that's basically what you have there. Then you have your actual player board here. And on this player board, you're going to be building stuff out of it, and building stuff on top of it, which can be, I think it's these different buildings, which just give you more actions, better actions. You can build on the church, I think. Your second favorite Suchi. Which one is your first? So you just have these different buildings that you can build out. Then you have the, I don't know if it's the church. I think it's the church. That you have like another little mini game going on. I don't want to break this box, but there's some stuff going on in here. What is this? Oh, it's just stuck together. Yeah, I don't know. So there's a lot with this one. You have another little disc that is your resources, which I think is like stone and gold, and you have to kind of manage that. And then really as you build out the city, you're going towards the King Charles Bridge, and you're trying to get that built out as well. And I think that's where like your end game multipliers are, your end game victory points, all that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty, it's a heavier game for sure. This is what it looks like when it's done. So in the back you have that castle, and I think it's a church. These ones right here. So that's its own little mini game that you're doing. Here's the action selection mechanic, where you are choosing one and then moving them down. Let's see what else. In a 2 to 3 player one, yep. There are players can choose wooden or cardboard eggs. I found this really funny. I found one of the resources are eggs. I'm not 100% sure why eggs are a resource, but it does come with a bag of eggs. So blue section gives you extra points. Red section makes you pay gold. Okay. So that is Praga. I'm very excited to try this one. Like I said, it's been a few months since I've read the rule book. But how we choose a lot of games is on BGG at the bottom. If you scroll down past like the reviews and stuff, it says people also enjoyed these games. And that one in Praga has been on a ton of games that we have played in the past that we've enjoyed. That one's been on there. So it was just one that we decided it's about time to do. All right. And then, yeah, the cathedral is a cool little mini game. And then evacuation here. This is the final one that we got from Rio Grande Games. Devin did a solo live stream of this one back in July, I believe. I can't tell you anything about this game besides that you are leaving one planet, going to another planet. You have this engine built up on the first planet, and you're kind of deconstructing it, and you are rebuilding a new engine on the new planet. I want to say it takes place over 4 rounds, possibly. But from what I gathered with it, Devin really enjoyed it. We actually borrowed Joe's copy for that one, so now we actually have our own copy, and I'm excited to play this one because it does look pretty good. I did tell him, I said there's no way that I would ever win this game, but I enjoy just trying games. So that is Evacuation. And from what I understand, he really enjoyed it. Okay, that is it for our review copy games. Oh man, Praga's heavy. Not as heavy as these next two, though. I'm going to actually have to stand up to grab those. Give me 1 second. I'm going to mute this microphone. Okay, so here we go. These two, Devin actually backed on Kickstarter. So the first one here that we'll talk about is, let's talk about Inventors in a little bit. We'll talk about that one next. Let's talk about Teotihuacan, the City of Gods. And first thing, look at this box. This is insane. This thing is packed to the brim with everything Teotihuacan. Devin just live streamed this one last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. I don't remember. But this is a beefy game. I don't even know if I can open this. So this is the Deluxe Master Set. Come on. Okay. This is the Deluxe Master Set, and it comes with every single module created. Now that I just opened up that box, all the modules are listed on the bottom, so we'll have to look at those a little bit later. Wow, that box is bigger than a Feast for Odin. Yeah, no, this is like 2 Feast for Odins together. Okay, so this game, if you don't know, it is a there is an entire city in here. You are correct. This is one of the T games, a board and dice T game. So with the T games, we have stuff like Sulkin, Teotihuacan, Tawatinsuyu, Takenu. There's another one that I'm missing. Trismegistus is one. Teotihuacan. I believe there's one more. But basically, these are some type of. It's generally the public or the designers of the game. So like this one is Daniel Tassini. You have Luciani, who's the other one. Tabanasu, that's it. Tabanasu, which is the Egyptian one. There you go. So it's some type of city building game. I think you're right. I think it's Tabanasu. I think that's the Egyptian one. I can't tell you much about this. Besides, they have updated all the color on here, which I think makes it look way better. They have the double layered player boards with some sweet art on the back of it. This box does have the 5th player expansion. Here is another module. This looks like it's adding some different. I have no idea. I've never played with this module. This is the first time I'm actually opening this box too. Here is the player board. Now, spoiler, Friday, Devin and I will be live streaming this game. So I am going to actually get it set up because I'm not 100% sure this will actually fit on my table. We will play the base game though. So we have there's the player board. One side is fully colored. The other side is, I want to say it's the normal. Oh, it's got like a holographic kind of red on there also. So I'm not going to get all of this stuff out just because there's a lot. But you do have the solo in here. And past all these boards, there is some pretty sweet organization going on in there. So they did a really good job on here. Yeah, Michael, Sulkin. Sulkin is actually probably my favorite tea game of them all. And as we were talking earlier with kids, my daughter just got out of her room. And there she is. Give me 1 second. All right, I am back. So yeah, that is all the stuff here in this box. A lot of it. And like I said, Devin and I will be live streaming this on Friday. So be prepared for that. I think the T stands for Table Hog. I think you might be 100% correct on that. From what I've seen with Tawa Tensuyu, that is a very big board also. So yeah, Teotihuacan takes up a ton of space. So if you are looking to get that deluxe master set, make sure that you have quite a bit. All right, we got one more game here, and that is Inventors of the South Tigris. You can stay right there. I got a little visitor in here for right now. It is way past her bedtime, but that is okay. So we've got Inventors of the South Tigris. This is the newest Garfield game. Devin did back this one as well on Kickstarter. And he actually came over last night and we got to play it. It's actually set up on my table here on the inside because I'm wanting to do a solo playthrough of it. This is definitely the heaviest game that Garfield Games has ever put out. There is so much going on in this one that it's really kind of hard to wrap your head around after one playthrough, at least for me. When Devin texted me after his initial playthrough of it, he had said that he felt like it was a Lorenzo El Magnifico the main workshops mechanic. He said that it felt a lot like a Lorenzo. He had also mentioned that literally every decision counts in it. So there's no real willy nilly moves that you can do just to kind of place something out there. That's going to affect your gameplay in the long run. It took us about 3.5 hours to play yesterday. Um, and that actually wasn't bad because I was engaged most of it. There was a couple times where I kind of got out of it, but I was engaged for most of the game. So on this game, you have this shared player board up here, and really there's not much going on this player board. You have a couple of guilds, uh, and those guilds, like any other of these South Tigris games, those are what you're spending to do couple actions or to make actions stronger. Um, you have this giant river track down at the bottom. Give me 1 second. So you have this giant river track that kind of goes down there, and those are just your workshops. And those workshops also boost your actions. So you have those actions down there, and that's kind of what Devin was talking about. Reminds him of Lorenzo. You can also do some research, which gives you basically, for example, if you get a blue dice, you can then get some type of money and a card. Or anytime that you get influence, you get to brighten a dice. So there's a lot of little micro decisions that come into play with those tiles. And then you have your invention tiles here, which you have to pay your craftsmen, which means you flip them over, and then you have to do other things to flip them back over. All in all, what I'm saying is there's just a lot of little things to be mindful of in this game, and it's all going to be important. I did, yeah. So after my first playthrough, I had told Devin that I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and he basically had told me that he thinks it could be one of his favorite, um, but he knows that it's not going to be one of my favorites, so he won't be able to play it as much as he would like to. Jeff, I have not played the solo yet. I have it set up literally underneath my table here. I'm going to be playing it tomorrow, hopefully. But from what I've read from the rule book, is it seems it's very simple to read. Yeah. Um, I said to read. It's very simple to manage. So you have two decks of cards. You have a card that controls the dice. You have a deck that controls the workers, and you mix a certain amount together. You flip it over. You do the first action. If you can't do it, you do the second action, and that's basically it. On the side, it has this focus. So, like if you're placing a dice somewhere, it tells you to either place it onto the left or right section, on the top, middle, or bottom. So, it's very specific on what you're supposed to be placing and how you're supposed to be placing it. So, like I said, I haven't played the solo yet, but I will be playing it relatively soon. And here's my little person. Yeah. Okay. Hey, let's go that way. Hey. 1 second. So, um, yeah, this one is one that it's very heavy. I will say that. Uh, Scholars, I was able to kind of understand fairly quickly. Wayfarers, I think for me personally, Wayfarers is for me the scale goes Scholars is the easiest, then Wayfarers, then definitely Inventors by a big jump in there. Um, so that's kind of my thought on Inventors. I think I'm gonna end up liking it. It's definitely not gonna be one of my favorite ones by them. Yeah, that was her big screen debut. She's sitting right here watching me on the computer. Uh, but yeah, that is that is all that we have here. So, lots of games. I think we got 17 of them there. Um, we will try to get them all played as soon as we can. Uh, Sorry that this was kind of cut short here. I would like to talk about Inventors a little bit more, but gotta try doing a little more bedtime here in a second. So that's really it. Drop a comment below. Tell us which game of these you would like for us to feature on the channel first. I know that we've already featured a couple of them, but we are excited to get these played. A lot of good games. Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate it. But yeah, that was all of our games. That's all that I have. And I appreciate you guys all being here like always. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. All that stuff really does help us. And again, yeah, just put a comment below and let us know what game you would like for us to feature on our channel first. That's all I have. I'm going to go back to bedtime. You want to say bye? Say bye.
Bye.
Yep, say it a little bit louder.
Bye.
All right. You guys have a good night. We will talk to y'all next time. And Devin will be here on Wednesday, I believe. Let me just double check. No Devin on Wednesday. At least there's nothing on our calendar yet. Might be a surprise. Okay. Yeah, come say bye. Come give a wave. There we go. Give a wave.
Bye.
All right. See y'all later. Good night.